I'm Zach, and welcome to Few Minute Reviews, the short form show where I review things and you sit here and listen because you have nothing better to do. Today's topic is the book The Stand by Stephen King. The Stand is a post apocalyptic pandemic story of a group of people simply trying to make their way in the world in the aftermath of a horrendous outbreak. I know, how fitting to read a book about a world ending pandemic considering what we're just coming out of. Our core entourage of characters you follow throughout the narrative includes the reliable and persevering Stu Redman, the feisty but kind Fran Goldsmith, the troubled but trying Larry Underwood, and the mute, deaf but not unheard Nick Andros. The story itself chronicles the days of these characters as they seek to make a figurative stand against the end of the world and a literal stand against the antagonist of our story, the villainous Randall Flagg, also known as the Dark Man. For the King fanatics among you, like myself, Randall Flagg and or the Dark Man are names you should recognize if you've read the Dark Tower series or some of the other few works the King has sprinkled mention of these names into. The first half of the book serves as a tour of the world that these characters have to contend with, spending much of its time ingratiating the characters to us while depicting the horrors they have had to live through as the narrative builds to the eventual union of our heroes. We not only see day one of the outbreak, but King also does a masterful and horrifying job illustrating how a disease such as this could sweep through the US in the blink of an eye due to simple pride and oversight. The first half of this 1,300-page tour de force is one that I could see even non-King fans enjoying, as the telltale strangeness so core to his works is served up in minuscule helpings, instead focusing mostly on a detailed illustration of an emaciated society. The second half of the book, though, very much becomes what you would expect of a King story, and depending on your opinion of King, this is either an improvement on an already great work or an immediate downgrade. I myself believe it to be the former. The first half is intriguing to the reader because it builds up the perfect depiction of the world, and by the time the second half begins, you feel as though you are ready for something more substantial, and on that front, I believe King delivers. While toying with both political games and religion, King spends the second half building and building towards the inevitable climax of our core cast facing the Dark Man. And when it finally comes, the conclusion is mostly satisfying. There's enough tension and suspense for you to worry for the well-being of the characters, and the impact points stick the landing emotionally. The only real complaint I have at all regarding the second half of the story, and really the book in general, are that the moral core of this cast of characters is Nick Andros, and it almost seems like he becomes an afterthought in the second half, and that, as with many King stories, the book does begin to drag in its final pages as King attempts to find his final landing spot for the ending. At 1,300 pages, the book can be an intimidating read, but one that I found wholly enjoyable. In terms of my overall rating for the book, I would give it an 8 out of 10. It is a fascinating and terrifying world that King has built in The Stand with a fun and relatable cast of characters, but at times the book seems to drag its feet rather than keeping pace, resulting in the high page count. If you are a fan of King's works, then this is definitely one to pick up, but for first-time King readers, the second half may not exactly be your cup of tea. Until next time, I'm Zach, and this has been Few Minute Reviews.